Hi friends, Siddharth again. In today's video, I'll talk about EZB or Erklärung zum Beschäftigungsverhältnis Form. EZB is a form which is required by Ausländerbehörde to understand your profession and is a binding contract, kind of a binding contract from your Arbeitgeber, that is your company, and you. So in nutshell, I can say that EZB is a form which explains your Arbeit, your job, your contract, and it's a mandatory form for you to get your Aufenthaltserlaubnis, that is your visa, work visa. So now in this video, I'll explain point by point about this form, how to fill it up, and friends, because it's kind of a confusing form, because ideally this form has to be filled up by your Arbeitgeber, that is your company, and not by you. And mind it friends, this form has to be signed by your HR only, or maybe somebody like your hiring manager or CEO or whoever is responsible for your job, and not by you. This is a very confusing form, but I'll go through step by step and I'll explain you every point. So this is how the form looks like. This currently this is a 6-page form. And if you see, there's a lot of information they have been asking, and I'll go through each and every point step by step. So let me start with the first point. First of all, you have to point out the right comment, whichever is applicable for your case. And now we'll go with the first point. The first point talks about Arbeitnehmer or Arbeitnehmerin. That means Arbeit means work and Nehmer is somebody who takes. So somebody who is going to take the work, which essentially means employee. So you have to write your information here, name, Vorname. Now friends, there is one striking difference between Indian or Asian system and German. If they call name, that means they are talking about your surname. And Vorname means your front name, which is the main name. So make sure if here in this name column, you have to write the surname. You have to select the gender, weiblich, männlich or diverse. Then you have to mention the Geburtsdatum, that is your date of birth, Staatsangehörigkeit, that is your nationality, der zeitige Wohnsitz oder gewöhnlicher Aufenthaltsort. So in case if you are, let's say if you are applying for your home country, let's say from India, then you have to write your Indian address here. And in case if you are already in Germany and you are angemeldet, that is registered in Germany, then you have to mention your German address. Here comes information about your Arbeitgeber, that is your employer. So this will be your Firma, that is the name of the company, contact person, Strasse, all these details. Now, once again friends, remember these all details has to be filled up by your HR or your hiring manager. That is somebody from your company, not you yourselves. But still, at times it happens. Many times I have seen candidates were asked by their HR people to fill up this form as much as possible, because previously it used to ask for many details from the candidate side, which the Arbeitgeber or the company may or may not had. So it could be a kind of a cooperative work with you and your company, maybe your HR or hiring manager. Now going to third point, Beginning und Dauer des Beschäftigung. So here you will have to write the date on which your job is supposed to start. That is the date which is mentioned on your contract. Bestätigkeit. In case if it is already going, then you have to mention this probably will not be applicable. This Beschäftigungsverhältnis ist, that is the job contract is unbefristet or befristet. Unbefristet means unlimited. That is, some jobs are kind of contract jobs wherein there is Ablaufdatum, that is expiry date of the job. So that will qualify as befristet, that is they are limited time jobs, and some jobs are unlimited, which will be termed as unbefristet. Einsatz als Arbeitnehmerin. That means in case if you are on a third party payroll and deputed onto another company, then you have to mention this case, which probably will not be the case in most of the cases. Arbeitsort
where your job is supposed to be done. There should be some headquarters, let's say, whether it is remote or on office, but there should be an registered address of the office. So that you have to mention where you are supposed to work. In case if it's kind of a very moving job, then you have to mention that wechselnde Einsatz, which is normally not the case. Berufsbezeichnung und Beschreibung der Tätigkeit.
Genau Beschreibung der Tätigkeit. Now what does this point mean? This point means explanation of your job roles, your job details, and what you are supposed to do in this job. Now friends, as I multiple times I explained in my previous videos also, when you make an application for your work visa, Ausländerbehörde is going to check some parameters which are very, very important. I repeat friends, these are extremely important. Please give special attention to these points. The first of all is that your Arbeit, your work responsibilities should align with your previous jobs or with your education. I'll give some example.
I'll give you an example. Let's say if somebody has done engineering in automobile industry or is an automobile engineer, and since last 5 or 10 years he or she is working in a software company for any type of software product or software development, then there could be kind of a contrast between the education background and the profession in which he or she is engaged. So if there is any such contrast between these two parameters, I strongly recommend friends, try to find out a bridge between these two things, or try to justify why there is a difference between your education background and your previous jobs or your professional experience. For example, in this case, if somebody is a software engineer and is working in automobile industry, he or she may give a judgment or a justification saying that he or she was engaged in development of software for automobiles, and may give some good point like nowadays there is electronic cars or electronic autonomous vehicles. So that requires a lot of software development as well. So such candidates can give a kind of a justification saying that because they are software engineers, but they have been working in automobile industry or vice versa, or in this way they can justify the difference. You have to mention your exact profession and try to bring a relation between your this job and your previous jobs, or this job and your education background. That should be aligned, otherwise Ausländerbehörde may raise some questions here. Normally this text has to be written by the Arbeitgeber, that is the company, but still you can give some points from your side as well. Qualification des Arbeitnehmer. Now you have to write your qualification if you are done your engineering or anything like degrees or any diploma. You have to write a Hochabschluss and give the details of your education. Der Abschluss wurde in your information and in which country, in which date, which time, all this information has to be written here. Wenn der Abschluss im Ausland erworben wurde, der Abschluss ist in Deutschland anerkannt oder mit einem deutschen Hochabschluss vergleichbar.
Now this section talks about Anerkennung of your ausländisches educational qualifications. Now what does this mean? This simply means my previous video. Please have a look at it, wherein I explained it clearly how to get a recognition of your education qualifications and the sogenannt or so-called Anabin database. Now this is again a very important aspect, friends, because without this Ausländerbehörde is never going to proceed at all. You have to put forward 2 certificates. I explained this clearly in previous video. Please have a look at it and make sure that you have both those certificates. In case if there is any confusion or any deviation, then probably you will be required to go for a paid service from ZAB, wherein it might take even 3 months to complete. So make sure, friends, you have all these documents well in advance in hand to avoid such delays.
So friends, this is where I told you have to check my previous video wherein I explained how to find out a Anerkennung of your education. Wenn ja Nachweis liegt in Form. So in case if you have So in case if you've got the proofs, then you have to write down like attachment 1, attachment 2, or information like that. Now, in case if you have done vocational training, then you have to write information about your vocational training here. All information would be given in this section. In case if it is a part-time vocational training, then all information will come here. Sonstiges für die Ausbildung der Beschäftigung eingeschlagene Kenntnisse für Berufsplattfortsetzen. Now, in case if it's some exceptional type of Beruf, Arbeit, then probably you have to write Sonstiges. Sonstiges is other types. Now, please try to Google this text and find out if this text is applicable for you. I am sure that probably this text is not available, not applicable for most of the candidates. Freiwillige Angabe, that is your voluntary information if you want to furnish here. Now comes Berufsausübungserlaubnis.
Berufsausübungserlaubnis. Now, this is a monster word. What does this mean? Berufsausübungserlaubnis means Beruf means profession, Übung is practice, Erlaubnis is allowance. That means, are you having necessary license or necessary requirements to continue this practicing this job? This is kind of a confusion. It's too much to speak right now. But what does this in nutshell means is your qualification, is your job qualified as regulated profession or non-regulated profession? So for this also I made one video. Please thoroughly check that video. Any mistake at this step will straight away lead to extra delays.
So friends, as I just now explained, it talks about your whether your profession is regulated or non-regulated. Accordingly, you have to mention here. And in case if you are applying for a regulated profession and you have all the Erlaubnis, that is allowance or license, let's say for teachers, you have to get a license kind of thing or recognition from the CNET, then all those information has to be covered here. Point 9 talks about Arbeitszeit, whether it is full-time or and then how many hours per week. It's normally 38 or 40 hours per week. Teilzeit maybe for 20 hours per week, or geringfügige Beschäftigung, so that could be even 10 hours per week. Überstunden, how much money you will be paid for overtimes. So this information, in case applicable, you have to fill out. Urlaubsanspruch means how many days in the year you will be getting holidays. Normally it is 30. Arbeitsentgelt. Now, as I explained, you have to mention your salary here. And in case if it is Tarifvertrag, let's say if you are paid hourly, then you have to mention this. Else, if there is a salary, there is a bonus component, then Gehalt, all this information you have to fill up in this section. Berechnung der Entgelthohe. That is, in case if you are going to, your salary is going to be calculated pro Stunde, pro Monat, that is per month, per hour. All this information as applicable has to be filled up here.
Arbeitsentgelt, that means your salary. Now again, there is one clause in it. Many times it happened with me as well that my salary was X amount, but what I see in my contract was more than X amount because that included bonus, which is dependent on your performance and company's performance and project's performance. Multiple factors are there. Ausländerbehörde is going to check or take into account only your core salary, not your bonus. Now again, how does this make any difference? So friends, see, as a nutshell, you are eligible for blue card only and only if you earn more than 56 or 57,000 euros brutto per year. Now, in case if your salary is, let's say, 55,000 and you are supposed to get 5,000 bonus as well, so it becomes 60,000. But in this case, Ausländerbehörde will consider that you are not eligible for blue card straight away. Now, that doesn't mean you won't get blue card. For this reason, if your salary is less than 57,000, then your application will go to a third agency called ZAB. They will identify whether your qualifications, your job is in requirement, it's in skilled categories, it is in shorted profession. There are multiple parameters they will be checking, and then they will accept your application for blue card. Else, if your core salary is more than 57,000 euros brutto per year, then you are straight away eligible for blue card and you can apply for that same.
Inländisches Beschäftigungsverhältnis.
Rentenversicherung and Sozialversicherung. Versicherung means insurance. Rentenversicherung is like PF, which we call it as Provident Fund in India, wherein some amount from your salary will be deducted for your for your PF or your post-retirement stages. Well, that's entirely different thing, but you just need to check this box, that's sufficient. And Sozial Krankenversicherung means your medical insurance, like TK, AOK. Again, I made a video on that. Please have a look at it thoroughly.
Now, for Deutschland, there are certain Rentenversicherung. Just now I explained that. Most likely when you start your job contract, you'll be asked for these forms. That is, you have to, accept Rentenversicherung deductions. Then you have to also get a gesetzliche Kranken or Pflegeversicherung, that is your medical insurance. These all are most of the times applicable, and accordingly you have to tick the applicable ones. Gesetzliche Unfallversicherung, that is government accident insurance. If that's applicable, you have to tick that as well. Normally, when you write your contract, they all clarify everything in the contract itself, and there will be some additional pages along with the contract which talks about this stuff. Most likely your HR knows it very well and they will themselves tick the applicable ones. 9. Begründung. In case if none of these are applicable or some of these are not applicable, then you have to give a ground, that is a justification. Why are they not applicable? Besteht die Sozialversicherung verpflichtet in Deutschland ganz oder teilweise nicht, weil eine Ausnahmevereinbarung der deutschen in case if there is any exceptional case regarding your Sozialversicherung or Krankenversicherung, once again, this means your medical insurance. Then you have to justify all information here. Sonstiges Angaben zum Arbeitgeber. Now, these questions are only about your company. So I would strongly recommend better not to touch this, because you never know details of your company, their social rechtliches thing, Steuer, tax information. All this information you might not be having, so your HR will fill it up. When this all information will be given by Geldbusse. In case if your company were fined at any time from the German government, all this information they themselves will fill it. Would and letzte 5 Jahren, this is insolvency in case company filed. Would and letzte 5 Jahren Eröffnung and Insol. This all information has to be filled up by your company only. Angaben und dann Handwerksrecht. Now, in case if there is any extra comments which has to be filled up here, your company can write down and mention it here. Also, it is also recommended in case if there is extra text or extra information to be submitted, they can attach it as attachments. Now here is some information, and as I explained in the start, this all sign has to be done by your company only. So there will be some authorized person who is going to sign this, and stamp is most important. I repeat, please don't forget to put stamp, which is most important thing. And this is all regarding this form.
Now friends, remember this form is going to be used also in case if you change your job within 2 years. That is, if you are going to change your profession within 2 years of your first application, then again you will require this form. So make sure you check my previous video once again, wherein I explained how to change your job within 2 years. So friends, this was all about EZB. I hope I have covered all the points in this form. Now again, one point to note here is, friends, this EZB form keeps changing all the time, because at my stage some 3 years back it used to be only 2-pager form. 1 year back it became 5-page form, and I think now it's 6-page form. But overall the contents remains the same, and I'm sure that my video would have helped you. In case if you have still some doubts left, if you have any comments or any questions, please feel free to post them on YouTube comments. I'm always there to help you out. See you and bye-bye.